Nupu. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's called even. Noopooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's called odd. So, like I said, how is it really connected? You can't explain that. You can't answer why was this word used in the first place, right? You can't explain that. You see that? You see this word Noopooh right here? You're gonna touch on your boy. I can just take that out, right? Boom. Language, right? You know what I'm saying? Language. Also, when Anu took my idea that he got wrong, boom. He said Nupu, Nuwapu, Noon, all come from Nubu, which means go. That's what he said. It all come from there. It all come from there. Now, technically speaking, right? I mean, alphabet 1 through 9. Right? I is the 9th letter. You know, I ain't gonna go too far into it, but within these sets of letters, you find B. You understand what I'm saying? Also look like a P, but P is way down here. So B might have been the original word. You understand what I'm saying? If you're using creative reason. If Afro Unu wrote BIAE as Amanubi Rakafata, and the assistant writers of the introduction to the nature, which is Sipu, Jipu, and Ripu, are the Nupu authors of the 9 ball, then why is the vocabulary changed? Because there's vocabulary and words and extra words that Afro Unu chooses to use, whereas the 9-ball and Nupu, under what Dr. Malachi Z. York brought, was simple and clear. So I'll give an example, and this is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to read for you number 79, okay? Listen to reason, original reason, stop, okay? There's no reason for original reason when we understand through Nupu that the true Trinity is 9 ether, 6 ether, and ghost. If we came along with the original creative gases and chemicals, then we know that to be 9 ether. So original reason is 9 ether. Okay. Afro Unu has also taken it upon himself to use the word reason in lieu of using the word ether, and also exchanging the word creative energy for gases. Okay, so I'll continue to read. As you see, it says, or listen to reason, original reason, the creative energy who grew the universes of nature and the original persons and things of them into form and life, is Nous. Okay, Nous is not mentioned anywhere in the 9-ball or the BIAE. If it is mentioned, I don't think so. Clear it up for me and let us find it. Is Nous, pronounced Nous in the American English Dictionary. The science and proper name of Nous is Noopooh. Okay, you see how Nupu is spelled with odd numbers, right? If the writers, Jipu, Sipu, and Ripu, were the authors of the 9-ball, then why didn't they stick to the same energy, the same reason, the same creative gases, and use Nupu in the even numbers that they used, right? Afro Unu said you got to write Nupu in odd numbers, but Nupu is even numbers, dealing with the 9-ball.
All right, true many colors, peace in war times. All right, so we're going to answer the question about Nupu being in odd numbers according to the nature of nature, and you saying that if they were the writers of the 9-ball, then Nupu would be, it would be odd. But you, according to you, you said Nupu, it came out to be an even number. So what I'm gonna do is basically read, dealing with that same kind of quote, and it's coming from Introduction to the Nature Book 1, number 146 through 147, pages 115, 116. And here is a list of even numbers at the top, and the bottom is a list of odd numbers. So people who may not be familiar with even and odd numbers, I think even numbers are numbers that can be divided by 2, and odd numbers are numbers that can't be divided by 2. All right, so we're gonna go down here. So Nupu must be spelled in odd numbers. Okay, this is the alphabet, where each letter has a number. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, and so forth, and so on and so forth. It's 26 letters. It's really 27, but that's another conversation we'll have. All right, so we got that. So it says here, listen to reason. The name of the first personality is Nupu, pronounced Nupu, and it's no coincidence that the letters number of Nupu is number 9 this way. In the American English language, N is the 14th letter of the English alphabet. O is the 15th, and P is the 16th, and N is 14 plus, so it's N 14 plus O 15 plus O 15 plus P 16 plus 015 plus 015 equals Nupu, which is 90. 9 plus 0 equals 9, which is the single digit number of the name Nupu. And take note that the perfection of the heavenly personality takes place at 0.9 north tip top of the order circle. See figures 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in part 2 of this book. The H at the end of the word Nupu is added because the name Nupu must be spelled in odd letters, plus the fact that the letter H stands for the 9/2 of the smash circle of order, which is the heavenly half. The name Nupu must be spelled in an odd number of letters like 3, 5, 7, or 9 because the digit 9 is odd, like the one supreme being is 1 and odd. The letter at the end of the name Nupu is silent and should always be capitalized because it's symbolic. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Alright. It says, you, Mr. Hustle, stated in your video that if Ripu, Gipu, and Sipu were the writers of the 9-ball, then why didn't they stick to the same even numbers that Nupu came out to you on this video here? So I pointed out the word Nupu is 4, and you got 7 for Nupu spelled the way it's spelled on the on the covers of the 9-ball, and the way Nupu is spelled in the nature books. All right. By your statement, you are implying that Nous and Nupu aren't numerically justified by being used interchangeably by Afro-Unu. That too is a mistake on your part. Let me show you. And I just want that for people to go back. You were saying, you know, Nous and how that and Nupu can be used together, since Nous is Greek. But again, you lack certain information or certain reasonability, and that's why you make these erroneous videos. All right. So here we go again with the alphabet number system. The same way it's done in the nature books. All right. Let's take the word Nous. N is 14, O is 15, U is 21, S is 19 equals 69. 6 plus 9 equals 15, 1 plus 5 equals 6. 6 eat the positive power word via the Greek language. I also developed another way to numerically deduce number values as well. This is touched on in my book called The Seal of Almighty Nature and the Game of Billiards. So in this book right here, for those who got it, you can understand where I'm coming from. And this book came out a couple of months ago. Alright. I have another book following that I delve into this methodology more extensively. Moving on. Now we're going to do Nous the other way. N is 13, O is 12, U is 6, S is 8, equals 39, 3 plus 9 equals 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3. 3 eat the positive word via the Greek language. This is why those Greek philosophers had Nous or Nous at the end of their names, who received their teaching from the Phoenician Egyptian invaders of Africa, such as Plotinus, Paulinus, Rogitanus, to name a few. This is why Afro-Unu said, get the book Stolen Legacy and look up information on the word Nous and trace it back. But again, you don't read. And I told you that. Because you run around here behind York, who wasn't a reader either. He was a plagiarizer, a copier. So therefore, you missed out. Alright? Let's continue. Now, I don't know if you were high or what type of geometrical system you used to arrive at that, but you are wrong by your own statements, because Nupu, as you say, as you wrote, says 4. That is even. And Nupu, as you wrote out, is 7. That's odd. But again, you think, and that's what you're doing, whatever calculation you're using is not coming out right. Because Nupu does not equal 4, the way you put it, and neither does Nupu equal 7, because you're doing it wrong. Let me show you how. Alright? Either way, both are wrong, and I should show you. Here is the way it is done to arrive at the proper number 9 as stated in the nature books. Alright? So you look at that again. Now watch. Look at the word Nupu. N-U-P-U. N is 14, U is 21, P is 16, U is 21. Equals what? 72. 7 plus 2 is 9. How you get 4? Telling me you can't count, dummy? You big dummy? Told you, man, put that weed down. You just making a fool of yourself every time. I love it though. Because all you do is keep showing the people who chose you as their champion. Boy, I tell you, if they was betting money on you, they'll be broke. You're a real idiot. See how that's showing you that? Alright, let's keep going. 9-ball count 3, number 2 supports this and proves you are incorrect once again. Right? See, N-U-P-U come out to 72. Now watch this. Read this. In this book, we Ethiopian scientists shall deal with 3 as it pertains to the Caucasian race, sometimes called white people or the white race. White is a fair description of that race because Ghost is white. Therefore, the white race is the posterity of Ghost. Ghost is 3 among the conscious gases because it appears on the circle of time at the position of the number 3. Notice this drawn circle. Pay attention right here. This is the wheel of time and existence. This ain't nothing but the smack circle. That is, time and the many changes that time produces and matter exists in a circle. How we determine the right combination of numbers to use on the circle is that the digits must be single and consecutive and must add up to 9. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equals what? 72. And 7 plus 2 equals what? 9. And guess what he says? Nupu comes out to what? 9. That's the number that represents Nupu. So even though the spelling is different, N-U-P-U or N-O-O-P-O-O-H is silent, this is more proof that the author was Afro-Unu. See, this is what we keep saying. All you're doing is banging yourself out. And the digits must divide the circle into 12. Equal parts like the zodiac because the digits 1 and 2 are left out in order for the circle to add up to 9. A circle must add up to 9 because a perfect circle is 9 by nature. Evolution starts at 6 on the left side of the circle of time and goes counterclockwise through 5 and 4, ends in 3. 6 pushes the circle down on the left side and 9 pulls it up on the right, as you can determine by this drawing. And again, 1962 was when the moon cycle was over. And what, 9 started to pull it up from where the 3 is. And Nupu, N-U-P-U, ended up on the books in what, 71. So, again, N-U-P-U and N-O-O-P-O-O, the H is silent, it's the same. They come out to 9. See, that's showing you following something incorrect. Now we deduce the word Nupu the second way. N13, U6, P11, and U6 equals what? 36. This proved your math was off as stated. See? And go right back to the same quote. Now show you that what? The circle not only must add up to 9, but also the words. So Afro-Unu, by way of Nupu, which is 9 mine, gave him the correct spelling because the words themselves are always going to add up. That's dealing with mathematics. But again, Afro-Unu didn't put all that stuff in there because our people was still coming out of religion and the civil rights and all that stuff, and they start getting jobs and Hollywood started letting us in and all these different things, it still took a while. Moving on. The fact you came up with this number 4 is evident you are ignorant and further proves Dr. York did not originate this 9 knowledge, nor did he teach any of you that of what we are teaching and explaining by way of Nupu and Noom, the 9 signs of all the world. Sit down, you are not qualified. Simple. Just look at yourself. But, you know, like I said, you don't even get an E for effort because what you're doing, you're not even challenging me for the sake of just you want the facts to come out. You challenging me because you sore and salty about York. Which make you a savior. You can't save York. It's over. So now let's go on to the next thing, the next head buster. All right, just to show y'all, cause the name of your video was is it proof that Afro Uno wrote, authored Nupu? That's what you were saying, cause you've been making videos about Afro Uno is now Amadou Rakatar and all this old mess. Now you remember this email right here? This is a response I sent back to my Top Ray. But we're not going to focus on all of that. I'm going to just go to a certain section of this so you can understand. All right? We're going to start from right here. My bad. All right. My response. Listen to Sound Right Reason, Ken. The first misnomer of alleging that Atar Noon has tarnished Nupu and Noon is not in accordance with the facts. My racial relative. First fact is Noon is born in the worst part of the Zoop in the hellish half, and Moon-based America can't get any filthier than that. Secondly, Malachi Z. York, who stole the first works of Amadou Rakatar, Afro Uno, the BIAE and the 9-ball count specifically, corrupted the message and became arrested with the information now labeled Nawapu, right knowledge, sound right reason, is associated with a convicted pedophile or child abuser. Last time I checked, we were busy establishing without a shadow of a doubt that Noon and its messenger Afro Uno is not associated with York or Nawapians. Even though Nawapu and Noon have the same meaning and the information as far as the BIAE, Bible interpretation, and the 9-ball counts are concerned, that came through the 3 who wrote and co-wrote them, known as Wu Nupu, Asa Nupu, and Naba Nupu. Anup myself are in contact with Gipu's stepson Nairobi, whose last name is Nupu, from the birth, along with his brother and sister whose name is Nabu. Notice the similarity between Nabu and Nabu. Below is an excerpt from our text which supports the connection that Gipu, Arthur Simmons, who co-authored the 9-ball bookers, and not Mr. York, that has been falsely claimed by Nawapians for years. And this is a text conversation that I had with Nairobi, which is Gipu's stepson. And this is what he told me. Nupu was our name since birth. Everything was African in our household. My brother's name is Nabu. My sister's name is Gemayi. Sister born in 82, brother in 79. So, what is you talking about? And this is Gipu's stepson. This is stepkids. So, that's proof right there. They wearing the word Nupu and Nabu at the end of their name legally. Dun dun dun. Finish him. As soon as I get a chance to get in contact with him, we'll get something out of that too. So that's just it. Just ring the bell, man. Throw in the towel, Apollo. You can't beat the Russian. You got beat to death But, you know, you already mentally dead, so that's just how that goes. Death is just something you love. Show me the comment, peace and wartime. Alright, shoot me the comment, peace and wartime. Alright, so we gotta revisit this again because your brain cells, they just disappear and you just go loop-de-loop. Poopity-scoop, loop-de-loop, zoopity-zoop, scoop-de-scoop. I keep telling you this is answered already. But because you're slow and I had a little bit of time on my hands because people like myself got stuff to do. You see how y'all go back and forth? Y'all only thing you got is the YouTube and this. And bringing up old stuff and all this other crap that y'all do. We go back and forth with y'all every now and then, but then something else happens. Guess what happened? While y'all was sitting here talking that other night, 2 hours worth of crap over there with the Mixed Mud Mingley site, Queeple dropped the book. This is what we keep trying to tell y'all. Why you keep saying we ain't got no works, is nothing in your mind can make nobody believe that, especially when you could just go to our website, find9news.com, and there it is. Simple. That's not hard to debunk that. That's what I mean. That you say things and in your mind it makes sense. That's like me saying, if you putting out books, and just because I'm beefing with you, I'll never say you ain't putting in no work. You is putting in work. Just because I may not respect your work, I'm just saying hypothetically. If I don't respect your work, that doesn't make the books you write null and void. Or if you was making videos teaching, even if I don't respect you or like you, that doesn't make the work go away. That's what I keep telling you. So you don't set the rules and the standards on what is work. Everybody put work in different ways, but we have works because the books, the nature books already said that these books and other works will follow. And there's only one group that's actually writing books based upon the nature of nature, building on what it is, and that's over in this direction. What the Wapians or Sabians are doing don't count because that's plagiarism and stealing and mixing. They're not growing off of what he already said. But if you had more sense than using those old books I had and looked at the new stuff that we've been put on the website, then you will see. There's my equal standing of how to use the information in the direction we going. That grew over time. So that's called growing. Just like Nine Mind is growing and developing, so are its posterity in stages and degrees. So whatever. It just showed me how far y'all behind. All right, so let me lay down the premise so you can hold a mirror up to your ignorant self. All right, point one, because you keep talking about this Nupu and NUPU and all this other stuff. So let me show you, this is what you're doing, and this is how it translates when you start talking. All right, asking how NUPU is even in NOPOO Nupu with an H is odd, shows how ignorant you are. All right, number one. That odd statement was made in the nature books, not the 9-ball. So what are you doing is you're taking two books that was written 30-something years apart and trying to take what they're saying in one book and applying it to the way the word is added as a surname, which is NUPU. Again, sticking with the same thing, because those are three authors who wrote what? Nupu at the end of their name. Afro Unu states in the nature book that Nupu should be our surname. And we should wear the name at the end of our Nupu at the end of our name. So we know who wrote this. York never told y'all that. York was telling us to get Muhammad and Hotep and Ishmael and Abdullah and all these El and Al at the end of our names. And no time did York ever say put Newport in your name. See, these are the things you have to use and reason out when you look at the works. You don't stick with the works. You trying to convince other people that you're doing that. Your spirit is convincing you that's what you're doing, but actually you're not. All right? Secondly, you're questioning me like you trying to prove Nupu, right? The mind behind it wrong or contradictory because sound right reason was behind all the writings. So you still sitting here saying and bringing this across because you trying to trick your woman that you got there with you and other people, because the writings are very clear why the odd and the even is even a question, because it was answered. You don't get that though. You don't get that. You don't get that. All right? So the books clearly say in book 1, page 115 and 116, says Nupu is 9 without the H, right? So we're gonna read that first before I say what I need to say. All right? Listen to reason. The name of the first personality is Nupu, pronounced Nupu. And it's no coincidence that the letters number of Nupu is 9 this way, meaning N-O-O-P-O-O, right? In the American English language, N is the 14th letter of the English alphabet, O is the 15th, P is the 16th, N is 14, O is 15, O is 15, P is 16, O is 15, O is 15 equals Nupu equals 90, 9 plus 0 equals 9, which is the single digit number of the name Nupu. And take note that the perfection of the heavenly personality takes place at 0.9 tip top of the order circle. See figures 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 in part of this book. The H at the end of the word Nupu is added because the name Nupu must be spelled in odd letters. Once again, your other problem is you're literal and you're trying to extend this written in all other areas, but he's being specific. He's saying it should be written. But when you say Nupu, it's still gonna come out with the same sound whether the H is there or not. But he's telling you that number one, it must be, the H stands for the 9 half, that's 1, of the smash circular order, which is the heavenly half, right? The name Nupu must be spelled in odd number of letters like 3, 5, 7, or 9 because the digit 9 is odd, like the one supreme being is 1 and odd. The letter H at the end of the name Nupu is what? Silent, and should always be capitalized because it is what? Symbolic. So it's telling you two things. It should be spelled, and H should be there because it makes it odd, because it's all like the number 9, all like the one supreme being, stand for the 9 half, and it also is symbolic. It's symbolic just means to be a representation of something. But you stuck on the fact that it's an H there, then you compare it with N-U-P-U. Why are you doing that? That's because you're looking for something wrong. That's your problem. That is your problem. I already answered this question before I added this extra piece right here today, June the 2nd, 2021. I answered this 2 years ago, when you watch the beginning of this video, it says 2019. This is showing you that you're so dense and the weed evidently has destroyed that memory bank. That's why you asking again, because you're looking for something wrong. That's the problem you gotta understand. You don't like the science, and you're trying to not show that, and you're asking me as if I wrote the book. That's what you're doing. Every time you try to pick something out, and then you press the question to me as if I wrote it, then that you're still trying to find something wrong. That's why you keep saying, well, if such and such and such and such, then why is the such as over here? This means, like I said, you're looking for something wrong and you're dumb because you don't comprehend. It's very clear. It tells you right here. The H is symbolic. It stands for the heavenly half, and it stands for, and it also to make the spelling of Nupu odd. All right. Let me see. Why? Because Nupu is 9 reason, 9 mind, 9 powers, etc. The H is added to make it all for the one supreme being and for the 9 halves. So it's a respect thing. If you add the H and if you add the A, it changes it. Now look at this. This the thing. Hold on. Now watch this. Watch this. All right. It's 9. 90, 36, 72, and 18. When you add the H, it changes it to 8 and 1. So that's not what you're supposed to do. If you're gonna say Nupu is what, 9, then basically the H is not there. You only writing the H because it symbolizes a lot of things. So really, it's only for, it's not just for writing purpose. It's more than that. But if you try to say that H makes Nupu wrong, because that's what you're saying. Because you're saying if he's saying it's supposed to be odd, then you trying to use NUPU as even, as if it's a contradiction. No, he explains to you what the H is. But Nupu is 9, right? We know that. Because you always talking about 9 signs, but you don't believe that. Because you're coming in here and you're still picking and prodding, trying to make something wrong because you don't like the science. When you do that, it's 9. It's nothing else to that. You're the one who wants it to be something else. I didn't write the book, but the book make perfect sense. You follow your number's supposed to be 19. Why are you worried about 9? I keep asking Sabians and the Wapians that for years. Y'all always talking about the number 19 because according to York, he came from the 19th galaxy, right? So 19 is y'all number. Why even worry about that? 19 isn't even. The ignorance. So again, Nupu with an H makes it even, dummy. That's the point. And I already told you before, you doing the same crap you did 2 years ago. You're counting NUPU 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not how you do it. You have to use the gematria, the alphabet system, A through Z, A means 1, B equals 2, like that. That's how you get 9 that way. You ignorantly counting NUPU was 4 letters, then NOOPOOH is 7 letters. That's not how it goes. That's the first thing, because you can't get that in your head. You're counting each letter when he never said that, and he placed right here what you're supposed to do. He didn't count. He didn't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the letter H making it 7. You did that. Because if you add it up in gematria, which is the way that he wanted it done, that's when you come out with 90. You put an H Now it changes. That's not what you're supposed to do. You don't understand that. The same thing if with Nupu, right? Now watch. Cause he do the same thing. Hold on before I go down. I'm gonna just read that. Right? When you go down here, it says Nupu is the same thing. Listen to reason. Name of the second personality, the absolute almighty nature is Nupu. Pronounced Nupu. See? Pronounced Nupu. There's no H there. And it's no coincidence the letters number Nupu is number 3 like this. So if you would have went further with this, but because Nupu is not on the cover of the 9-ball, it wouldn't be because the writers is not gonna use Nupu as their surname. That's why. That's dumb. Because we're not descendants of Nupu. We're descendants of Nupu. But if you would have tried that with Nupu, you would have get cracked in the face again. Because it says here, and then there's no coincidence that the letter numbers of Nupu is number 3 like this. As explained in what? The preceding paragraph, slow boy. In the American English Dictionary, Z is the 26th letter in the English alphabet, O is the 15th, and P is the 16th letter. Z26, O15, O15, P16, O15, O15, Nupu equals 102. And 10 plus 2 equals 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3, which is the single digit number of the name Nupu. And take note that the perfection of what? The hellish personality occurs at point 3 south, rock bottom of the circle of order. See figures 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 again in part 2 of this presentation. What? Look, the H at the end of the word and name Nupu is added to what? Parallel and balance to what? The H at the end of the word and name Nupu. See, it's the balance. Why? Because 9 north is Nupu, then you hit 6, and then you got 3, and then you go again at 6. So 3 is also can be divided by 9. I mean 9 can be divided by 3. Lame. At the end of the word named Nupu is added to parallel because there's H at the top. And there's at the hellish half, perfection at the bottom. Perfected heaven at the top, 9 north, perfection of hell at the bottom, 3 south. So they parallel. He's telling you why the H is there. All right? And balance the H at the end of the word and name Nupu. So it's a balancer. That's another thing. Plus the fact that the H at the end of Nupu stands for what? 6 or hex half at the small circle or the smack circle of order, which is the hellish half. The letter H at the end of Nupu is silent and should always be what? Capitalized because of the what? Symbolic, and he got it in big letters. It's symbolic. Of course, the 2 personalities are opposite in the manifestation of eternal nature. Now, so Nupu comes out 3. See, this is why I said if you would have done the same crap with Nupu, you would have came out confused and you'd have been exposed for being a troublemaker. So you went and spelled out Nupu, N-U-P-U, and say that's 4. Then you said Nupu is 7. But now when you go up here, if I put Nupu spelled the same way Nupu was, just switch the N to a Z, Z-U-P-U, you get 4 letters. But when you add up Nupu down here, you get 7 letters. So Nupu is odd too. Because he said it had to be odd, like the numbers 3, 5, and 7. But so does Nupu, because Nupu got 7 letters, but then that's just showing you how dumb you is. So now watch. This is why I was saying this. Now look at this. You take Nupu. It comes out to 3. Because that's how it's supposed to come out to 3. But if you add an H, it changes to 2 and 7. So that's not how you're supposed to come to that, right? It comes out to 3. Now we take Nupu. What happened? Z-U-P-U still come out to 3 and 6. Then the book just say, this is how I know you don't pay attention to nothing. And it says right here, Nupu stands for the 6 or hex half of the smack circle. And there it is numerically. Reverse ordinal 24, 2 plus 4 is 6, reverse 4, reduction 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. 3 and 6. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. You trying to find something wrong in the science, and you asking me because you want to make it look like I wrote the book. And you know what you also doing? You're trying to making other people think that I can answer all your questions because you're placing them to me, which I didn't ask you to do that. The book is clear, and the rest of it, you have to reason it out. Just like you made that dumb mistake talking about if I had creative reasoning. The only one who had creative reasoning was Afro-Unu. That was the only one who was born with sound right reason in his mind. Y'all said York was the first begotten of the dead. So that means he was mentally dead, born just like the rest of us, fool. Nupu is the mental resurrector. Afro-Unu was the first one to be mentally raised from the dead. He was the first one to be mentally resurrected. So y'all keep saying all this begotten, that's religion. That word begotten is found nowhere in Noon. I said this before. Y'all following behind the Nova, and his writings is the one who spreaded that begotten crap. And wherever else he may have gotten that from. But his writings is the only one I've seen that at. The word begotten will be in the Bible, the New Testament, talking about Jesus, and in the Nova's non-count writings. The word begotten is nowhere in Noon Science. I don't know why y'all keep saying that. Afro-Unu was born with sound right reason and didn't know that they was in there until he turned 36. And book 3 tell you he was born with sound right reason in his mind. Sound right reason visits everybody else because they only born in all the stars and all of the different Afro-Unus on whatever planet there is. Because this is not the only planet the Ethiopian race is on. So there was an Afro-Unu born everywhere when Nupu was born. As far as human beings concerned, Afro-Unu are the Ethiopian race on this planet, and wherever else, that's when Nupu was born in a human being. As far as the stars, the earths, and the satellites, Nupu was born in all of them. So all this crap you coming up with makes no sense. Because the book is clear. You the one who don't have no reasoning. Human beings have, what was that reasoning what it was? Let me look at that. Human beings, well, I put it in the back. I put it in the video that human beings don't have creative reasoning. We have progressive reasoning and another type of reasoning. Creative reasoning is sound right reason itself. You don't have creative reason. None of us do. But you can use it. That's why the book say follow sound right reason. Use sound right. You have the ability. That's the second part that human beings have, that progressive part, to be able to use sound right reason to solve problems and stuff like that. That's what Afro-Unu had. He had Nupu in his head for him to go around and study and to come up with all of the laws and the rules and all the things that'll solve our problems spirit-wise. And also that's why he said take turpentine, take sulfur, do this, stop doing that. That was the stuff that helped solve the problems. None of us have that. You had to be chosen by nature to do that. And Afro-Unu already got that. Still got it. All right? So now we got ZUPU equals 3, ZUPU equals 3. All right, what all you're doing, like the last time, is counting Nupu or Nupu instead of using the gematria. That's what you're doing. Afro-Unu said it should be written in R, but it should add up to 9. And it can only be that way if the H is taken out. So it's both. It's odd and even. But you too dumb. And he only said it should be written with an H. But the H at the same time is symbolic and it stands for a lot of things. Because if the H is silent, that means you don't really count it. You got words in the English language and letters that are silent. And you like, well, why is that letter there? And you don't even pronounce it. Oh, the O is silent. Oh, the E is silent. But it's still there though. That means it's symbolic or something. So again, you don't understand language, because if you did, you would have just went and looked up what does it mean when letters are silent. All right, now check this out, just to give you some context. All right, silent letter rules, learning and teaching silent letters in English, right? This is the basic rules right here. They say, why do we need them? Silent letters, teaching silent letter reference. Why do we need them? In many English words, you will come across some letters that are spelled yet not pronounced. These unpronounced but visible letters are known as silent letters. They occur frequently in the English language and usually make life difficult for the new learner. Like you, something wrong with you. You can't get it. Why do we need to have such letters in a word in the first place? That's a good question, and answers vary. Sometimes a digraph changes relative to the word etymology. So let's look at the word digraph real quick. A digraph is a combination of two letters representing one sound, as in PH and EY. So basically that's what it is, two letters that make one sound. There you go, that answers the question. So Nupu, the oo, which we know in the sesh meta netta, that's the quail chick. So that's the oo. It's a silent because it represents the same sound, dumb it. That's why whether you say it or not, it still make this. It still have that sound. All right. Sometimes a digraph, which is two letters that make the same sound, changes relative to the word etymology. Some words with silent letters come from a foreign language. Right now, we will take only a cursory look at which letters and words are to remain mute, and we will look at some silent letter rules that will help us recognize when certain letters are to be silent. To get a good grounding in silent letters apart from the rules, you'll be helped to read extensively in English. So again, like here, examples: M before jam, lamb, comb, and tune. So that means these two letters make the same sound, and it means that something done changed in the etymology. So that means somebody changed something. It come from somewhere else. And that's dealing with borrowing letters from here and there. So again, you make no sense because you don't know English. That means you don't know the rules to how English works. That's why you keep asking, why does this, that, and the third? If Afro was translating something into English, that means he has to have knowledge of the language he's taking it from and into the language he's putting it in. Which you already know, the nature books came mostly from the meta netta, the sesh meta netta, how he translated that. We've been saying this. It's ridiculous. All right, so now, then you went into Noopooh and Nupu, and you took out the N and the two U's and left the P, then you changed it to a B and said, Anoop said, Nawapu came from New. That's where it came from. It ain't just he said it, that's what he traced the word to. But that still doesn't justify, because the P and the B is interchangeable. Nowhere in the BIE or the non-ball it said change Nawapu to Nawabu. It never said that. It never said that. And because you don't understand, this is why you was doing the stupid stuff you was doing. Still counting 1, 2, 3, 4, like a slow boy. You dumb. This is why you keep saying the same stupid stuff. In the book, the book never once said count it out. It said it must be written. But it still tells you that the word still got to come out the 9. And he placed the alphabet. You see how I got the alphabets down here? He didn't say count 1, 2, 3, 4. Because Nupu, you counted 1, 2, 3, 4, and the first 4 letters is A, B, C, D. Did that make sense if you counting 1, 2, 3, 4 letters? No, dummy. You have to go to the number that the letter is a part of. N equals 14, U equals 21, P is 16, U equals 21. You add them up, come out to 9. Now, for clarity, N-U-P-U, 9. N-U-B-U, 4 and 5. This is why you don't make no sense. And you trying to justify you're changing it. But Nupu come out to 9. Then if you change the P to a B, like you and the rest of them dummies was saying, it changes to 4 and 5. So that shouldn't have happened, right? And the B and the P being interchangeable has nothing to do with Nupu, N-U-P-U. When you change Nupu, N-U-P-U to Nubu, changes the number to 4 and 5, which isn't 9, proving negative influence from Zupu. Same as Nawabu, right? We already did that, which is changing to 4 and 5. Yet Nawapu adds to 9 and had to be the same when it became Noon, which I already placed that in there. 9. So it's a numeric thing, because you're talking about just like these letters represent numbers. This is why Afro said the Ethiopian race is the number race. The numbers came before the letters. And he said we used to solve our problems in ancient times using numbers. So what are you talking about? You should be adding, not counting. You should be counting the letters in the place that they are in the alphabets. Not counting N, O, O, P, O, O, H. And then you still coming up with the dumb answer. The names gonna come out odd and even. He just said it should be written in odd letters. Because evidently there's a rule that he gives that the H stand for the heavenly half and the hellish half. And 6, H, and all the other stuff that was already written. I'm not making any of this stuff. And this is the problem. And your negative brain matter is why you keep doing that. That's why you keep acting like I'm making it up. And anybody who's following you instead of following sound right reason deserve to get confused and get up out of here just like you. All right, so I showed the examples. So it's clear that Dwight York was mathematically incorrect and manifest error when he changed it to Nawabu. Just because letters are interchangeable doesn't mean it was correct to do so with the word Nawapu. That's it. That's all. Good night. True me to calm, peace and war time.